I'm Teague.
And I'm Sam.
And we are your well-informed girlfriends.
Bringing you today's news, gossip, and unsolicited hot takes. This week, we're talking about Trump's potential master database of every American's data, the unfortunate resurgence of the R word, and whether or not you should be asking ChatGPT if you're hot or not.
Okay, we're also going to be chatting about Job Corps, which is shutting down across America, Lizzo's breakdown at Pride Festival, and the newest mocktail ingredient, Kava.
Okay, all that and so much more on this week's ep of Well-Informed Girlfriends.
Oh, wait, and also, if you could like and subscribe, we would love you forever.
Forever. Don't you need that?
Okay, so our first story, we're going to be talking about Palantir. So the New York Times has a new report on the administration awarding contracts to the controversial tech company Palantir, which is apparently helping Trump develop a database of Americans' private information. So this is being scraped from various government agencies that could theoretically be used to track or persecute people. So the Times report aligns with concerns about surveillance and the weaponization of federal data. This was actually highlighted recently by Rachel Maddow during a recent episode. I want to just have you take a listen.
It is a huge data grab from what appears to be every agency in the government. And that really appears to be their only consistent priority, the only thing they are consistently and aggressively doing everywhere they insert themselves. What is that about? Why are they doing that? This is from investigative journalist Julia Engwin, who has reported on data privacy and security for years. She's writing in the New York Times today. She says, quote, DOJ is assembling a sprawling domestic surveillance system for the Trump administration, the likes of which we have never seen in the United States. Over the past 100 days, DOJ teams have grabbed personal data about U.S. residents from dozens of federal databases and are reportedly merging it all into a master database. This month, House Democratic lawmakers reported that a whistleblower had come forward to reveal that the master database will combine data from federal agencies, including Social Security, the IRS, and the Department of Health and Human Services. The whistleblower also alleged that DOJ workers are filling backpacks with multiple laptops, each one loaded with purloined agency data.
Okay, so that's where we are. It is very, obviously, like, we all know that data is out there. We know people are selling data. We've, seen a lot
and
of
it's
stories.
worth a lot these days.
It's worth a lot, especially because we are, again, like we've talked about so many times, in this attention economy.
Yeah.
So all of these brands, all of these, everybody wants our information. And so it is, but I think it's a little bit scary if it's going to be used in a big database. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I obviously, tinfoil hat on.
Yeah.
I am stressed because it's like, what if you Google immigration lawyer and then I don't know. That gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
And I know that there are a couple of court cases about looking up your Google data information and that kind of thing as well. So, listen, we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how everything plays out in the courts.
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be challenged in various ways. So, I know
that they have databases everywhere anyways, but it is just scary to think of it all being, being potentially used against you. It's like,
I know. And some people are like, oh, well, I have nothing to hide. I'm like, for now, I'm not going to break any laws
either.
But it's of course. But it's like, what if you're Googling something that seems relatively innocent, but you get caught up in some sort of weird needle in a haystack search for a murderer, and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So that gives me anxiety, but it's fine.
It is relatively scary, but I guess we'll see what happens. We have another scary story next.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So ICE agents actually detained several employees at a popular South Park, San Diego restaurant on Friday evening.
Yeah.
They caused the entire business to close during the normal dinner rush hour.
Yeah.
San Diego ICE said agents conducted 2 worksite enforcement operations and no teca buena forchetta, and the public got involved actually.
Yeah. We'll take a look at the clip first.
Where U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents say they've conducted worksite enforcement operations at a popular restaurant. This happened just after 4 o'clock this afternoon at Buena Forchetta and Enoteca Buena Forchetta on Beach Street. Protesters confronted the agents and also surrounded ICE patrol cars.
So this is a really scary scene. All of these people, it looks like there's flashbangs, and the public is against the ICE agents. So definitely a scary scene to see. But you saw that they took they detained several of them, right?
Yes. Yeah. They detained several employees. So
Okay.
TBD on what will happen to them. I'm not sure we know their identities yet, but that will keep you guys posted on that.
Yeah.
And that's like another story that comes after another story of another ICE raid this week at a construction site.
The owner of the construction company admitted that he voted for Trump, actually.
Yeah.
But he was saying that he was surprised that this was happening to his workers. He thought that these raids or these deportations would only happen to people who are here illegally or people who were criminals or maybe people like that. And so I think that was really interesting to see him be upset about that. And he also said, quote, this would be crushing to his construction business, and these types of deportations would totally, mess up what he's doing. So interesting.
I think it's important to note, and quick soapbox moment.
Yeah.
I heard several other journalists talking about this on various podcasts and talk shows. But basically, I think the issue here is that the Trump administration has promised to deport X amount of people, right?
Yeah.
And it's really hard to catch criminals.
Yeah.
That's like they're criminals. So it's much easier to find people who are either following the rules or who check in or who are likely to be illegal, working just like kind of minding their own business. And that's what we're seeing happen here with all of these ICE raids.
Right.
It's a lot of people who are kind of minding their own business, and then they're getting caught up in this sort of goal of deporting X number of humans. And so that's been the unfortunate side effect of this promise to deport all these people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's an interesting perspective and so true. Okay, so our next story is about Job Corps offices that are closing across the country. So if you don't know what Job Corps is, it's basically a free, no-cost program run by the U.S. Department of Labor that provides education, vocational training to young people. It's usually people like 16 to 24.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It aims to help them basically improve their lives by developing career skills, completing education, gaining employment, variety of programs. So it's like healthcare, construction, technology. Basically, it'll just like put you into a field.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah, well, it is going away. It is great. It sounds great. I think the problem here is that it is very expensive to run these programs.
Sure, yeah.
The article that I read said that it costs about $80,000 to put one particular person through one of these vocational programs and then job placement. So the Department of Labor announced this week that it'll be phasing out operations. So it's basically a pause of operations at all contractor open Job Corps centers, and it'll occur June 30th. As the transition begins, the department is collaborating with state and local workforce partners to assist the current students so that hopefully they can be
finish.
Placed and finish. And then so we'll see the potential effects of this. It could really pause a lot of students who are currently enrolled. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it sounds like these were really good programs. I think that obviously they were expensive. So that's like where this probably got cut, but we'll see what happens. Unfortunate.
That is unfortunate, especially because we have such a shortage of people like nurses and going into things like plumbing and whatnot, like technical programs. So
right, yeah.
That's a tough break, but okay.
And also we should mention it's typically marginalized communities who are benefiting from these programs, or people who are out of work for an injury, who need to get back into work, or maybe are like learning a new skill to get back into the workforce. So you definitely want to see these people have that type of program. So I guess, we'll see what happens with that.
All right. Our next story is actually from CNN.
Okay.
And I thought this was just kind of wild. So it highlighted how the R word is kind of making a resurgence in recent months.
Oh, no.
The story cited examples of people like Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Kanye West, all using the word. It's up like 3x on Twitter since January.
Oh, no. People are writing it out?
Yeah.
Oof.
And a professor at American University told the network that the use of the R word's an example of the death of empathy in the United States.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I would never use the R word. I just want to preface that by saying, but what do you think about that?
I don't know. I do feel like I have seen people just get a little crazy online recently. So it's not surprising. I do feel like I think like it's a trickle down effect, I feel like there's so much craziness going on and people they're not playing as politically correct as they were before.
Facts.
So I think that they just don't feel like there's as much of a consequence. People are still getting canceled, but it's not really, people getting canceled anymore?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't heard of anyone getting canceled.
You know what's
in a
crazy? I
while.
feel like people aren't getting canceled like they used to be.
That's a good point. We'll investigate this for you guys.
Right? Doesn't it kind of feel like people aren't
it has
getting
being
canceled?
canceled been canceled?
Kind of, like, because I feel like if you say something really controversial online, like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you would get canceled. Now, if you say something controversial online, you have like this weird microcosm of people who are following you and like kind of want you to say these crazy things because it's maybe something that they believe or whatever.
For sure.
But they're too afraid to say.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that CNN story about the R word did mention like people like Elon who tweeted it got more engagements after using it. So it's kind of like you, both from people who are like, yeah, and people who were mad at him. So,
right.
I mean, like, we're not going to do that.
No,
it's a good way to drive engagement.
Well, and I wonder if it's kind of like that same principle of like no press is bad press.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point.
People are talking about you, so you're quote unquote relevant, I guess, no matter if you're, if it's for reasons that people are upset or not at you.
Yeah, fair. That said, no one please cancel us. Please don't cancel us. Okay,
why would we? We didn't say it.
We didn't say it. We didn't say anything. Okay. Speaking of talking on the internet.
Okay. What's the next story?
Okay. Our next story. First, I want to ask you, have you ever asked ChatGPT if you're hot?
Yeah.
What did it say? Was it like yes?
It was like, you're okay, but you have a few things we could improve.
Okay, I'll admit to you, I've asked it as well, kind of. I was like, what plastic surgery should I get? And it was like, please get a nose job. And I was like, that isn't even the first thing I would have gone with.
But maybe they have a point.
Maybe. Okay, rude.
I'm just saying. Whatever.
Anyways, a new story from the Washington Post explains that more and more people are asking ChatGPT if they're hot.
Yeah.
Because they think it's an objective measure of beauty.
Yeah.
But like experts say that's actually not the case at all.
Okay.
First of all, and I'll explain.
Yeah.
First of all, AI is trained on things humans created on the internet, meaning our biases are actually all still there. One expert called it automating the male gaze in the story because like we all are so trained for the male gaze and that's like our bias.
Right, that's true.
Plus, it's actually not clear what from the internet the AI bots are pulling from. Like, was it a knowledgeable makeup tutorial or a dermatologist? Or was it like some crappy hot or not Reddit thread, right?
Yeah, right.
And then second of all, AI companies are starting to partner with shopping sites to give you targeted content to get you to buy their products. And it's unclear to what extent that is, but that's definitely still going to be a part of their responses going forward because AI companies need to make money. So, well, just if you ask ChatGPT if you're hot or not, and it's like you're a 5 out of 10, don't be too offended because, like, you know what? Being hot is not an objective question you can ask it.
Right. No, when I asked ChatGPT, I was like, what symmetry wise? And I asked.
Oh, maybe that's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, because that feels like it makes a little bit more sense objectively. But who knows?
But who knows, honestly.
Yeah, that's interesting and scary.
It's also unsettling.
It's really scary that like brands are starting to get involved because now it's like I thought that my chat was just giving me
objective answers
of things I needed to do. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, so our next story is about one of the CEOs of the AI companies is warning about massive unemployment because of AI for white collar workers. So this is something he was like doing the press rounds this week. And here, take a look.
People have adapted to past technological changes, but I'll say again, everyone I've talked to has said this technological change looks different. It looks faster. It looks harder to adapt to. It's broader. The pace of progress keeps catching people off guard. And so I don't know exactly how fast, the job concerns are going to come. I don't know how fast people are going to adapt. It's possible it'll all be okay, but I think that's too sanguine an approach. I think we do need to be raising the alarm. I think we do need to be concerned about it. I think policymakers do need to worry about it. If they do worry and they do act, then maybe we can prevent it. But we're not going to prevent it just by saying everything's going to be okay.
So basically he was saying that these AI tools that Anthropic and other companies are racing to build could eliminate half of entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to as much as 20% in the next 5 years.
Wow.
That's what he told Axios on Wednesday. So that could mean the U.S. unemployment rate growing fivefold in the next 5 years. The last time that it neared that rate was in COVID at the height of the COVID pandemic. So it's a scary time. I mean, this is something we all knew was going to happen. I think that a lot of people are just shocked that it's happening so quickly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, at least I can get my things in order. And like, maybe if I want to pivot career-wise or do whatever, like I can like figure it out. It's like, unfortunately, we might not be having as much time as we thought.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, who among us doesn't dream of like a soft life tech job? And I guess those are going away now. So that's rough. That's so rough.
And we have to mention, like, you know, this is coming in a time when a lot of these kids are graduating and these are the entry-level jobs that they would be, in theory, getting. So it's like, if all of those jobs are eliminated, they're graduating again with a lot of debt, hoping to get that first entry-level white-collar job after graduating. And then it's like, if what happens if we have an entire, you know, unemployment workforce?
Especially strange. Of young people, that makes it so difficult. As the population ages, we need things like Social Security to be, you know, funded. And if people aren't working and they're actually taking money from unemployment, oh my gosh, it's going to be a disaster. All right, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, next story.
What is our next story?
Okay. Lizzo took the stage on Saturday night here in West Hollywood at the Pride Festival, and she actually had a minor meltdown.
Oh no.
Take a listen.
I'm always telling other people to reach out when they're going through something. So this is me reaching out. I've been depressed. Tonight is therapy. It's therapeutic for me. Thank you for allowing me to open my heart and connect with you and show you my vulnerability. Because you've shown me yours.
This was Lizzo's first public performance since 2023, as far as I could tell. I went back and looked, and that's as far as I could find it. I was there. I actually shot this video, and she like thanked the audience for all of their support. She said she would always stand with the LGBTQIA+ community. For those of you who don't remember, Lizzo did have like a lot of backlash after she was sort of canceled, so to speak, due to a series of lawsuits from a former stylist and her former backup dancers. I mean, I want everyone to have a redemption story, right? Like, I'm always rooting for everyone. Mm-hmm. That said, I have to say, I mean, like, I was impressed that she took a minute to talk about her mental health on stage in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. Obviously, these celebrities, I can't imagine what it's like to be in the spotlight right now, especially like in this day and age when social media is so prevalent. You're able to hear like instant feedback on what people like or don't like. And especially if you're canceled, you know, and she really was canceled, you know, to like hear that negative feedback loop all the time. And I can't imagine what people say. So yeah, I mean, tough. Good for her, I guess, for getting out there. Those allegations were pretty crazy, though. For sure, they were.
So, I mean,
it's hard to redeem yourself after that. I think, you know, it's commendable for her to come out and start talking about it.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll see what happens. Look, it seems like she's still working. Seems like she's still.
Yeah, she still has Yitty, that brand she made of like shapewear and clothing. Mm-hmm. And I think
new music as well.
Yeah, she's performed a new song last night. It samples that one song that's like, I'm a bitch, I'm a lot. So, I mean, it was a fun show, I have to say. She dedicated an entire cover of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and she sang, let me tell you. And she played the flute, Sasha, or whatever her flute is called.
Yeah.
And she dedicated that entire song to Black trans women for like paving the way for so much of the LGBTQIA+ community. I mean, it was a nice show. And I'm rooting for everyone at all times. So I hope that she does well. I hope that she's able to make a comeback, and I hope she learned something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right. Next story.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you have any streaks that you're particularly proud of, like a snap streak with your friend from college, or have you remembered to floss like 30 days in a row or something?
You mean like a habit that I have?
Sure. Or a snap streak.
I don't have Snapchat anymore. Okay. But so I don't do snap streaking. My nieces do snap streaking, but no, I don't have any streaks. What is this story?
Okay. The New York Times this week has this really interesting story that highlights how so-called streaks can actually help you keep a habit. And I think we all kind of knew this. They always say like 30 days is how long it takes to make a new habit.
Yeah.
But this story talked interestingly about how we learned to love streaks as kids because our parents would gamify good habits with things like chore charts and gold stars.
Yeah.
And in adulthood, streaks become actually rituals,
Right.
just dressed up in the language of self-optimization. And so it serves this critical job of adding structure, purpose, predictability, and genuine meaning to our days. And it can be the dumbest thing. Sometimes people are talking about running every day, which, okay, flex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at sleeping every day, for example. And I just not to brag, but I guess they talked about how to make a streak. And do you want to hear some tips?
Sure. I mean, this sounds just like a habit.
It is a habit, but we're
Okay.
rebranding it as Streaks Teague.
Okay, great. Let's do it. Yeah. How do I?
Okay. Make it easy to repeat the behavior.
Okay.
Picking something you enjoy that actually adds value to your life.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the technology, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
An app that reminds you to run every day or what have you. And
Yeah.
then here was the part that I thought that was most insightful. Considering what else you gain from it. So if you were to say, I'm going to run every day, sure, that's a health benefit. But you might also procrastinate less and develop more self-discipline. So I think that's a good rebrand for me mentally.
Okay, great. No, look, I read James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Same. I have also read that, yeah.
And so Atomic Habits talks a lot about, incentivizing yourself to do things you don't want to do. So if it's waking up early, or taking vitamins, I used to do, to incentivize myself to get up early and take all my vitamins, I would then give myself a gummy vitamin at the end. So I would
a little sweet treat.
It would be
your other vitamins.
A little treat. Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that.
So doing things like that, or also he talks about habit stacking. I don't know if you remember that in the book.
That's a big part of ADHD coaching, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So anyways,
love that for us. Okay, another new health trend.
Yeah,
this
what is
I
it?
saw on the internet. I guess it's called zebra striping.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with animals.
Okay.
And evidently, as people drink less and less these days, they're trying this zebra striping, and it's not a new shot or a craft beer, but it does kind of have that energy.
What is it?
It's a trend where people alternate drinking alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages while they're out socializing. Get it? You're going back and forth between two things.
Okay.
AKA stripes.
Yeah.
The idea is that if you have one alcoholic drink, then one non-alcoholic, it keeps you from getting too drunk
Yeah.
and saves you from getting a hangover tomorrow.
It just sounds like a lot of liquid.
I don't
If I'm drinking an alcoholic drink and then I'm having a non-alcoholic drink, it just sounds like a lot of liquid, and it kind of defeats the purpose if you're trying to feel something.
No, I think it's
Right?
yes and no. I mean, I'm going to admit that I've been doing this for years. I'll go
Okay.
out to a bar, I'll get a drink, and then instead of having a second drink, I'll have a Diet Coke. And then when everybody gets their third round, I'll get a second drink.
Okay.
And this story did focus on the rise of sort of mocktails, which we have more on later.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I actually think this is a good idea because it's if you were going to be having 3 drinks, but instead you only have 2, not only do you save yourself $20 because drinks are $20 now minimum, but also it's you might not feel as crappy the next day.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with this. And obviously it's important to drink water when you're out, or
That too, yeah.
try to stay hydrated when you're out.
Maybe take a preventative Pepto-Bismol, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever you need to do in your
have to
30s, you guys.
do. Well, wait, this is so funny. So the other night I went out and I had Kava. Have you had Kava?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Not like the restaurant.
No,
Kava
it's
with a K.
Kava. And a lot of people have actually been talking about it online, and I didn't really know what it was, but this is the first time that I saw it on a menu, and I guess it's kind of becoming all the rage. So basically it's used in mocktails. It's Kava is actually from the plant, a pepper in the pepper family.
Okay.
And so basically it's known for its calming, slightly euphoric effects.
Oh.
And I have to say, it did make me feel something, but what I felt, I wasn't sure I was obsessed with. It was it made my mouth feel numb in a
What?
menthol way. It kind of tasted like and maybe this was the specific one that I had, but when I was getting it at this mocktail place, they were so just so you know, your mouth will feel a little tingly, and it might relax your muscles so much that you're want to keep your mouth open. I'm that's not right. I don't want to do that.
I do not want to do that in a public place.
So that was Kava. That was my Kava experience.
Is that all of the drinks at this place had Kava in them? What?
Yes, exactly.
And they all make. So were people just sitting there slack-jawed in
No,
the bar?
like they weren't. I think that maybe she was just like, because it was my first time trying Kava. She was
Oh.
like, just so you know, like that will probably be, you'll want to relax so much that like you'll just want to like be chilled out and vibing. I'm like, I don't know if that's like my ideal version of chilled out and vibing, but
Did you like compare it to weed, or was it not nearly as?
No, I think it was different. It was just like a different,
Huh.
like it kind of just like relaxed you, but in a way that I was like, oh, this isn't my favorite way to relax. I'd rather like have a red wine to relax. But that's alcohol. So anyways, I thought it was very interesting. But yeah, Kava is the new thing. Who knew?
Okay, well that's tea.
That's
we'll
tea.
have to try it.
You'll have to try it.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for listening this week,
Yeah,
everyone.
what
This
a
was
fun
really
week.
fun. If you could, again, like and subscribe, we'd love you forever.
We'd love you
Maybe give us a
forever.
5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, like whatever you
Whatever,
wanna
yeah.
do.
No press, no stress.
No,
But
a little press.
put some things in the comment section below and we'll respond.
Yay, bye.
Bye.